My name is Mark Vernarelli, and I'm the spokesman for the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. And what in the world is the agency that has to do with the state prison system doing in downtown Westminster? Well, it's because of a tremendous partnership and what I think is really tremendous smart government between several state agencies and the city of Westminster, and tremendous inmate labor. We use low security supervised inmates to basically transform, with Romano Concrete's expertise, the face of downtown Westminster in terms of the ADA curbs, and we're so happy to be here today. Mayor Kevin Utz is going to come and talk to us here, and we're so thrilled to be working in Westminster. Sir, thank you very much for having us.
Thanks, Mark.
Appreciate you.
Okay, I'm using some new technology today, and I just got a low battery alert, so we'll see how it all works. Okay, so good morning to you all. On behalf of all the citizens of Westminster, I would like to welcome you all to our city and to this morning's ribbon cutting ceremony to recognize and celebrate the completion of the ADA curb ramp project. What a wonderful project this is, and with so many partners, the Maryland Department of Housing and Community Development Assistant Secretary Gilbert and staff, the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services, Secretary Maynard and staff and inmates, the Department of Disabilities, Secretary Raggio and staff, and the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulations, Ken Whedon and staff, who are all here with us today. I'd also like to recognize Romano Concrete Construction, and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our staff, who has done an outstanding job putting and we talked about it, putting the dots together to make something happen. And that would be my city administrator, Marge Wolf, Sandy Anderson, who is our grants coordinator, and Mike Maltoff, who is our engineer expert, and Jeff's staff. There are other supporting personnel that went with this, but without their connections to the secretaries that you see here with us today, this project would not be a reality today. The partners that I want to recognize, the partners made this happen, and here's what happens with the partnership. 4 curb ramps were reconstructed. With these partners, 64 curb ramps were modified. With these partners, 164 new curb ramps were installed. With these partners, over 200 ADA compliant curb ramps now exist in the downtown Westminster. For this accomplishment, the mayor and council members sitting in front of me, are extremely proud. This project, however, is about much more than curbs and concrete. With this project, DLLR provided training for the inmates who are with us today. With this project, the Department of Correction has provided construction experience and positive community participation for the inmates. With this project, inmates have received certification from DLLR for on-the-job training. With this project, the inmates participated in a major community project. At this time, I'd like to personally thank the inmates who are here with us and those who are on the projects who got canceled yesterday because of an emergency in town, but I'm sure they're out working again. Their work was crucial to the success of the project. Concrete lasts a long time. We hope that their experience gained here will be for a lifetime. I want to thank you. All of this for the reason of access to civic life by people with disabilities. It's a fundamental goal of the ADA. With these partners, this project provides access, better access for all, and now a reality throughout the downtown Westminster. Our thanks to all of you who have put your hands and fingers on this project. We do appreciate it. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate being here today. You know, I say this not just because he's my boss, but because it's true. Secretary Maynard, who is in charge of the largest department in state government, is really a visionary, because 7 or 8 years ago, we didn't have much of anything going on in terms of really meaningful inmate work projects. Today, we have hundreds of inmates out at this very moment across the state doing really meaningful things that far surpass what you think inmates would be doing out on the streets. And we have him to thank for that. I'd like to introduce to you the Secretary of Public Safety and Corrections, a man with 45 years of corrections experience, Mr. Gary D. Maynard.
Thank you very much, Mark. And Mayor, I've got old technology, and I can't even use it. So I do want to just speak a little bit about sort of the onset of this project and how it all got started. It was probably about 3 years ago when I talked to Kathy Raggio, and Cabinet Secretary, we usually sit together, you know, sit near each other in the governor's cabinet meetings. And so I said, Kathy, what's the state of the handicap accessible curbs in the state of Maryland? She said, well, it could stand some improvement. And I said, what do you think about a project where we sort of work together? And she says, thought it'd be great. So that's sort of where it got started, with sort of me talking with Kathy. And we talked to Ray Skinner in Housing and Community Development and Department of Labor and Licensing. And then we reached out to a city in Cambridge, and we got Cindy Stone to help us get a grant from Housing and Community Development, and started that project. Ran into Ray Romano, and he was sort of the skills trainer for handicap curbs for the State Highway Administration, and sort of locked him into the prison over in ECI, and he had a group of 5 inmates there that he trained to the standards. And we never had done anything nobody in the country is doing anything like this, I can tell you right now. But we hadn't done anything like it, so it was kind of a touch and go, and we got the mayor of Cambridge. She said she'd be interested. So Ray told me, he said the 5 inmates he trained out ECI, some of the best students he'd ever had. And that sort of gave me some hope that this may be something that go other places. And we talked to the mayor here in the city to move this project here. And it's been truly outstanding. I want to recognize some people, some of our staff who make these things happen. John Rowley, who is our coordinator of, raise your hand, John, Public Safety Works. Felicia Hinton by John. She is the Director of Corrections in the Central Region, which includes Central Maryland, where these inmates come from. Leonard Rice, who is the Facility Administrator, acting now at Central Maryland. See what happens in our department. We move Casey Campbell, Facility Administrator, from that facility down to the jail in Baltimore to help us out, and then somebody steps up, and we appreciate that, Leonard. Again, it really is a pleasure for me to be here. These are the projects that we love to do that are almost the hallmark of our department in the state of Maryland. We have increased the number of projects we do like this. We can do work for any nonprofit or any government agency. We work for, as Mark knows and everybody knows, the federal government over at Antietam Battlefield, restoring that battlefield. We work with the Department of Natural Resources in the Bay, repopulating the oyster population so they can filter the bay and make it cleaner. We plant bay grasses, on and on and on. And it is our pleasure, because the main benefit of this project, I mean, there's a number of winners in this deal, but the gentlemen who do this work, it's an opportunity for them to give something back, to pay back society for their crime. And they do it in a way that helps citizens and taxpayers and people in the communities. There's nothing any better than that. That's restorative justice at its best, and we just appreciate Mayor and everybody who worked on this, allowing us to come here, allowing these men to pay back and make this community better. So it's our pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. As the Secretary said, Secretary Raggio from the Department of Disabilities, she really got the ball rolling after just a very short conversation with Secretary Maynard some years ago. And lo and behold, we now have done a curb project in Cambridge and a huge project that's really the first of its kind here in Westminster. Secretary Raggio, thank you very much for being here today. Come on up, say a few words.
Thank you, Mark. And what what a great day this is. Good morning, everybody. And I want to begin by thanking Secretary Maynard and Carol on behalf of Secretary Skinner for this collaborative work that we were able to do here in Westminster, and to Mayor Utz and March Wolf and the people that you brought together to make all this happen. It's really very good. I think it's appropriate that the 3 state agencies collaborated on this. About a week after Governor O'Malley took office, he announced Ray Skinner as Secretary of the Department of Housing and Community Development, and Gary, Public Safety and Corrections, and me, the Department of Disabilities, all on the same morning. And so immediately afterwards, I knew what I wanted to say to Ray. I wanted to tell Ray that housing is the #1 problem for people with disabilities in the state of Maryland, and I knew we were going to work collaboratively together, and I let him know that. Whether he was on board with me at that time, I'm not sure, but anyway, he came to understand that it is a huge problem, and we've worked collaboratively on a number of projects together. Very, very proud to have done that. And I wasn't quite sure how it was going to relate to Gary, but we've become good friends. And when he said to me, I like to keep my inmates busy, and we need to do something for people with disabilities, like curb cuts and sidewalk repairs and things like that, but, I need to find some money to do these things. I knew exactly where to go for the funds to Ray Skinner and Community Development Block Grant funding. And then the other thing that Gary said was that he needed the technical expertise for curb cuts to make sure they were done correctly. And so I knew exactly where to go there. So I went to former Secretary of MDOT, Beverly Swaim Staley, and asked for technical expertise through the State Highway Administration. And so that's how the whole project came together. And typical of my style, I got away with doing nothing. And people with disabilities will benefit enormously from this, and we're very happy about that. I want to thank the men who worked on this project from the Department of Public Safety and Corrections. You've done a great job. You've gotten great skills. I hope you feel really good that you've left Westminster a better place than you found it for people with disabilities. But I look over at Delegate Reedy there, and he's got his child in a stroller, and I'm thinking that not only do people with disabilities benefit from these curb cuts, but certainly parents pushing strollers do, and certainly delivery people use them a lot, and skateboarders and bicyclists, and there's so many people who use the curb cuts. And Westminster's a beautiful little town. It's a great place to live. It's even better now for people with disabilities, for our seniors, for our wounded warriors coming back from Afghanistan. And we thank you all for what you've done to make this a better, more navigable city. And I know that as a person with a disability who used to use a manual wheelchair, I really blew out my shoulders pushing up bad curb cuts and ramps and things like that. So, these are just beautiful, and they will save a lot of wear and tear on a lot of people. So thank you very much. Oh, I didn't introduce Deputy Secretary George Fayella and our ADA coordinator, Carrie Watrous, who do a great job in all things related to access.
Thank you, ma'am. We talked about public safety works. I just want to give you just a real quick overview. In Carroll County, we have one of only 8 inmate-operated horse farms in the United States of America that takes basically thoroughbreds that would otherwise be shipped to Mexico and slaughtered, and teaches skills, very critical skills, to inmates. They do a tremendous job down there at the Central Maryland Correctional Facility on that. We have inmates training service dogs for wounded veterans from Iraq and Afghanistan, the only program of its kind in the country that has incarcerated veterans doing that. We have, as the Secretary mentioned, inmates restoring Antietam Battlefield. These are really meaningful things. Inmates from this facility here have gone to the veteran cemeteries with incarcerated veterans to tend to the state veteran cemeteries. Far eclipses the old days of trash pickup and chain gangs. This is stuff that's really meaningful, and I'm just very proud to be a part of it. However, none of this would exist without money, right? Assistant Secretary Gilbert? She's the money lady. Assistant Secretary from Housing and Community Development, Carol Gilbert. Thank you for being here today, ma'am.
Thank you. Well, it's nice to see a little bit of money go a long way. Great work, Westminster. And I know if Secretary Skinner were here, he would say we can do more together, and that's just what we should do. So we look forward to continuing to work with Secretary Maynard and Secretary Raggio on other innovative projects throughout Maryland. Another really special reason why we're happy to invest so much in such a comprehensive project is we're here in this beautiful Main Street, one of 26 designated historic Main Streets in Maryland. And we're dedicated to revitalizing our traditional city and town centers. And this really helps that revitalization benefit everyone, all of the folks that Secretary Raggio referred to, young and old. And I want to thank our team at Team DHCD. Cindy Stone and Donna Source are here. And I want to thank in absentia a dearly departed friend of DHCD, Stan Ruckowitz, who was our representative here in Westminster on so many of the projects that the town has undertaken. And I know if Stan were here, he would say, okay, if you have a little time after today's events, go spend some money on Main Street. So, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
It is a great little town. I love Westminster. Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation has been one of our key partners for many years, and I don't think a lot of people realize that it's not a matter of locking people up and throwing them into a cell and feeding them twice a week and taking all their clothing away. What we really try to do is not lock people up, but set people free. Free them from addictions, free them from behavior problems. We do a lot of programming in prison, and we do a lot of skills training. And we do a lot of that skills training thanks to the Department of Labor Licensing and Regulation, which has taken over correctional education, which has allowed us to actually have certifications for inmates on this type of project. And they've done a tremendous job with us. And Ken Whedon is here from DLLR, and I'd like to ask him to come up and say a few words.
This is a real pleasure. I can't tell you, I've been in education for well over 40 years, and some things just click. Some things just, yeah, that's the way it's supposed to be. And this is one of them. Working with John Riley over the past few years has just been a terrific pleasure for me and for all of us. Correctional education is involved in education. And of course we do all of the academics and all the GED and all that type of stuff, but we also have training programs. And we have 24 of them spread out all the way from south of Salisbury up to Cumberland. Programs all over. But those programs operate inside correctional facilities. And when a training program is over, it's over and move on and somebody else comes into that class. And then about 2 years ago, we started something that we initially called OJT. And then we switched to JSTEP, Joint Training Education Partnership with the Department of Public Safety and Correctional Services. And we started it inside correctional facilities. All of the inmate jobs that are out there, food service, all of the maintenance jobs, you name it. People do those jobs for years, and there's no certification, there's no proof they did anything. So that when they leave, their resume is kind of vague. So we started by saying, let's start bringing in all of these programs and documenting what people are learning. You'd be surprised what you learn in food service, okay? And help them with a certification called Serve Safe. And then we moved on to different other types of programs. And the gentleman that works with me, who's done that work day to day, is David Bordelin. He's done a wonderful job at that, okay? Then John Riley comes and says, I got a better idea, okay? John always has better ideas. And so we started talking, and this is our first project where we're going to actually develop the specific competencies that these guys have learned or learning, and then they're going to be documented so that when they go out on their resume, they'll have written proof that they've actually done these things. And then we're moving on. He and I talked earlier today about a couple more projects. What we eventually want to do is see to that every single person incarcerated in the institutions in the state of Maryland who do work and learn skills, that becomes all documented. so that when they leave, their reentry has some real meaning to it. It has some real consequence to it. And a person can say, yes, I screwed up. Yes, I was incarcerated for 5 years or whatever. But here's what I did. Here's my GED. Here's the program that I went through. And then I worked in the community to pay the community back, through these types of programs. And here's what I learned. That's powerful. And to be working in this team with Secretary Maynard and John Raleigh and everybody else is nothing more than a terrific pleasure for me. And Department of Labor Licensing and Regulations are just plain tickled pink or whatever, happy as hell to be working with you guys. And thank you. And Westminster, 250 years now, next year? Wow. I'm a history buff. I'll be back. Okay? Thank you very much.
I hate to walk up here after he's been there because that shows the long and the short of everything. But at least they didn't make us. Oh, it said at least they didn't make us stand together, and he comes back up here. All right, here's your photo op, guys. All right.
He and I do
Oh my
graduations
goodness.
together.
My goodness. I'm short, but I have a big heart. That was a great speech, Ken. Thank you very much. Tony Romano is here, and it was about 140 degrees last summer. We were in Cambridge, and it felt like 140, and his men were laboring, and Tony Romano and Romano Concrete, we owe a debt of gratitude to, because they could have said no to this project. They could have said, we're not fooling around with inmate labor. We know how to do this. But not only did they become our partners, they also have taught the men a tremendous amount of skill. I'd like to have Tony come up and say a few words.
I'd like to thank everybody involved. I have to say, the first time I was approached about this, I was kind of hesitant, because you think, inmates, oh, I don't want to deal with the headaches. I already got employees that don't show up Monday. Do I really want to deal with inmates? So we went and we did a training at ECS, and I was almost shocked at the level of interest that the inmates had in learning this stuff. And then we got the opportunity to work with them in Cambridge, and the guys really, really wanted to learn and really, really wanted to participate and be a part of this. Then we came over to Westminster, and that level just compounded. They really want to be involved. They really want to learn. It was amazing. You show up here Monday morning, and they're like, hey, it's a great day. I was like, come on, man, I just had a rough week. And they're like, no, I'm out of prison. I get out. It's like, and you realize, wow, their days off are Monday when they get to come out here and they get to enjoy themselves. And we think, oh, Monday back to work. And it was just a really great experience. There was 8 or 10 guys that really tried hard, really did well, really got to learn the process, got to learn what we do, how we install ramps, how we install the sidewalks, and they really genuinely wanted to learn. And I want to thank everybody involved, because without actually being involved in this, I don't know that I would have thought that this was available and possible. And it's really been a pleasure doing it in Cambridge, and especially doing it in Westminster. And I hope to do it sometime in the near future again. Thank you.
One of the hardworking young men who's been out here since day one is Ronnie Towns, and he's here today from Central Maryland Correctional Facility. I'd like to have him come up, and he has a great work ethic, and we appreciate what he's doing to change his life. He's about ready to go home soon, and he'll remember this for a long time, right?
Thank you, sir. Hello, everyone. My name is Ronnie Towns. I'm here today, and I'm an inmate. I'm currently a participant of the 88 Concrete Special Project. I'm here today to say I'm a changed man. I'm just so happy that they gave me a chance and trusted me to come out here and show them that I'm not what they labeled me. I would like to give a thanks to Mr. Rowley. I would like to give a thanks to F.A. Rice. I would like to give a thanks to Tony Romano, and of course the Lord for blessing me. And just thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Best of luck to you as you get ready to go home, and I know the skills will come in handy. I want to mention one other project that we're doing. We're doing so many, I could talk all day long about it, but anybody remembers the House of Correction in Jessup? It's an old prison from the 1800s that we well, at the time was the oldest operating maximum security prison in the country. We closed it in 2007, and we're currently saving taxpayers about $5 million because we're having inmates trained in hazardous materials abatement who are actually deconstructing the prison. So we're not bulldozing it, we're not putting the stuff in a landfill, we're taking everything that's usable out of it, and inmates are learning certifiable skills, and that is the biggest project of its kind in the country, a truly meaningful project. And I could just go on and on. These projects mean so much to me. I've had inmates actually cry in the Veterans Cemetery, tell me this is the most redeeming thing they've ever done in their lives. And talking about changing people's lives here and changing the lives of people who are going to use these curbs, we're just very, very thankful to be here. Where is John Rowley? Raise your hand one more time. If you're here today and you have a nonprofit or you work for a government agency, talk to him before you leave, because he can set you up with an inmate crew that can really do tremendous skilled and unskilled work. We really have a lot of stuff going on. In fact, he's going to be going to visit a nonprofit today to talk about starting up another cooperative effort. Okay, now I'm going to shut up. We're going to get that gigantic, or as my kids say, ginormous pair of scissors that Sandy found somewhere. I don't know where she found them. We're going to walk over here. We're going to cut the ribbon, but don't do it till we do a countdown. If you all can make your way over there, we're going to cut the ribbon on this curb over here, which was one of the first ones done, and we're excited to do that right now.